Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Remember playing hide and seek as a child? You wanted to find the very best spot where no one can find you, because if you were not found, you were the winner, right? But do you remember the feeling when you would find that excellent hiding spot, and with such excitement, you would wait for someone to find you? But after some time went by, you'd begin to wonder, are they still looking for me? Did they forget me? And for a few lonely and vulnerable moments, it was the worst feeling. Alone, forgotten, and stuck in a small space. There are parts of ourselves that we hide in small spaces. Parts that we're afraid to look at or we don't want others to see. And it's no wonder, with so much social pressure to present ourselves as fully capable, strong, beautiful, and in control, there are aspects of ourselves that we'd like to tuck away. And sometimes we can almost forget about them until something happens that makes it impossible for us to repress them any longer. The pressure to be perfect is not new. It's biblical. This week, we read a jarring text about the priests. It goes like this. No one at all who has a defect shall be qualified to be a priest. No person who is blind or lame or has a limb too short or too long, no person who has a broken leg or a broken arm, or who is a hunchback or a dwarf, or who has a growth in their eye. And furthermore, even the offerings that they sacrificed needed to be perfect. We read, when a person offers from the herd or the flock a sacrifice of well-being to God, it must, to be acceptable, be without blemish. There must be no defect in it. Anything blind or injured or maimed or with a boil scar or scurvy shall not be offered to God. This passage is offensive to our contemporary sensibilities. It is exclusionary, elitist, and discriminatory. Many of us would like to somehow edit it out. But one of the things that I love about our tradition is that we don't edit out this kind of challenging and troubling text. Rather, we wrestle with it. We don't edit out the less palatable parts of our tradition. Rather, we talk about them, we riddle them out of their context, and we squeeze out lessons that may apply to our modern lives. After all, we are called B'nai Yisrael, the children of Israel, meaning the one who wrestles with God. In the passage that we just read from Leviticus, we wrestle with the idea that the ancients were really obsessed with perfection. But aren't we also? It may not appear in the same ways, but one only needs to think briefly about the curated versions of ourselves that many of us post on social media to see how the desire to cultivate an idea of perfection is somehow hardwired into us. In the text, the Israelites understand perfection as related to divinity. Their offerings are part of a ritual designated as a way to communicate with God. And the rationale here would be that as God is perfect, the offering must be perfect for God as well. But we are ordinary people. We are imperfect. Even Moses wasn't perfect, nor did he hide his imperfections. Quite to the contrary. When God asked Moses to lead the people out of Israel, What did Moses say? He said, "Please, O God, I have never been a man of words. I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." But God had other plans. God would not let Moses hide behind his imperfections. For the past year, we have been hiding from one another, stuck in small spaces, fearful and wearing masks, avoiding one another as we walk down the street, not making eye contact. We've even felt annoyed when someone tried to talk to us. And this has had an impact on our psyches. It has changed us, and we need healing. As of this week, the CDC has ruled that once we are vaccinated, we can take off our masks outside as long as we are not in a crowd. This is a big change. And as exciting as this is, I can imagine that many of us have grown to feel safe underneath the fabric. And the masks are emblematic for hiding vulnerability. So while we wear them as a protection in this time of COVID, they also represent a time of separation from one another, a time of hiding, a time of being in a kind of hibernation. We have repressed aspects of our social life, and it is going to take trust to change. As we re-engage, we need to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And that opens us up to the possibility of feeling embraced or judged, welcomed or rejected, perfect in our imperfections, or not making the mark. And when we look at ourselves without our masks as we walk outside, what is the internal dialogue? What are we saying? "Wow, this is so freeing," or "I need to get my teeth whitened," or "Ugh, I have to pretend I'm in a better mood and smile," or "I really want to wear my mask anyway." How does it feel to come out of hiding? What notions of perfection are we still holding on to? And how does this impact our feelings about re-engaging? As more and more of us are blessed to get the vaccine, we are gradually re-emerging. But we need to acknowledge that aspects of this time became comfortable. Maybe we noticed small things like the play of light against our apartment windows in the afternoon, or the way a home-cooked meal tasted, or the way in which we noticed our houseplants growing. Hiding has its gifts. But the game has a second part. We need to be found. It's hide and seek. We need to find each other. We need to ask, "Who are you and how are you doing?" Noticing the flaws and the beauty, all of it, a kind of perfection, just as we are. As we stretch our limbs, take a deep breath, and begin to move unmasked outside, with the words of the game ringing in our ears, "Ready or not, here I come." Shabbat Shalom.